May I call you Gary?
For sure. Love it.
Okay, good. Well, I've got to tell everyone when you're listening to this podcast or if you're watching it on YouTube, you're actually going to want to watch it. Because we're going to go through the assessment that I took to find out the why, the what, the how of my life. Now, let me first tell you, I did that on my phone and it took me about 5 minutes total. With that, Gary's now going to tell me what did all of that mean. So we're just literally, I'm exposing everything about who I am to the world right now, Gary. I got to tell you, this is kind of interesting. It's a little uncomfortable. I mean, do I want everybody to know my why, my what, and my how? Of course, John Maxwell has always taught me that as a leader, you're transparent. So that's what we're going to be doing today, Gary. I'm telling
Love it.
you, okay, so go ahead. Let's show it. What do we got? What are
Well,
the results?
let's talk for just a second before I bring it up because here's what it is. So, for those of you that are listening, Dianna took the WHY.os Discovery, the Why Operating System Discovery. So, what it does is it finds your why, your how, and your what, and builds your message for you. And it takes 5 to 7 minutes. But there's over 4,000 possible question options. And I use logic-based programming, so you had to answer about 30 to 35 questions. And so forever, this whole concept of why has been elusive, right? Everybody says, oh, you got to know your why. You got to know your why. And that's great. Yes, you do. But if you don't have a way to actually do it, then it becomes one of those things that just frustrates the heck out of you, right? Or you're told, oh, you got to go sit in a dark cave for a week, or you got to go walk by yourself through Portugal to figure out your why. Well, your why is already in you. You just have to uncover it to be able to see it, which is what the tool that you took does. And so let's bring it up and we'll go through this with everybody so they can see it. And
Well, I'm anxious to see it too, because here's why. In 5 minutes, for someone to uncover your why, I used to have people when I was at Keller Williams Realty International say, oh, what's my big why? I don't know what my big why is. And to actually be able to uncover this, and we'll be telling y'all how you can do this throughout the session today. And so, Gary, look at this. So the full WHY.os. OS is operating system, right?
yes, and
Okay.
let's get there next. Let's not get there first. I want to go. Let me walk you step by step through this so that we can uncover it for you for the listeners in kind of a sequence. Okay. So
Okay,
what
let's go.
what you're looking at, and I hadn't told you this yet, Dianna, the full YOS, which is what you looked at first, that is you 9 levels deep. There's 9 different whys, and that is the sequence that they appear for you. But let's start first with your simple YOS. So right here, where it says simple YOS, just go ahead and read that out loud to us.
Why? Well, I believe that success happens when I contribute to a greater cause. That nails me. That is absolutely correct. I think there is a greater cause, and we got to help everybody find their own, right?
Mm-hmm. And then keep going. How?
Okay, so how? How I do that is by making things simple and easy to use. Oh, I can't wait to tell my mentor, Dr. John Maxwell, that because he says leaders always make things simple. Educators, they complicate things, and leaders make things simple. Now, that's not a bad thing about educators. Don't take a chill pill on that one, because it just means that sometimes they teach too much and we just go to the bottom line as leaders. And the what, it says, ultimately, what I bring is an outside the box solution. And that's an interesting point because Oh my goodness. I'm thinking of the gentleman right now. I was talking with Brian Tracy and Vance, the guy that worked with Disney. Can't think of his name right now. That's my age showing, I guess. And he always said, Diana, you don't even know what the box looks like. You're always thinking out what box, right? And so I love that. I I got to tell you, without glasses, I can't read that Y.os summary
No, no,
yet.
no. I don't need you to read that. What that's
Ju-
just a little bit more information for you if you were going to go through this on your own. But let's you and I dive into this a little bit. So, what that tells us about you is that you're somebody that wants to help, right? You don't have to be the focus, but you want to contribute in a meaningful way. So you use your time, your money, your energy, your connections, your resources to push other people forward. You're kind of that glue that holds everyone together. Does that feel right?
Yeah, I mean, I like to challenge people so they can get up to their potential, which we never reach because when you've reached it, there's more potential, right? We're always,
Yes.
well, and that's why the book Becoming More. I mean, that just makes
Yes.
sense, right?
Perfect. And so you use your time, your money, and all that to push other people forward. Now, how you go about doing that is by taking complex things and simplifying them for them, right? Making them less complex, making them easier to use. Does that feel right?
Yes, I love models and systems, and I develop through patterns of watching other people. And so when I read that, the full why to contribute, simplify, challenge, mastery, right way, make sense, better way, trust, and clarify, I felt like my mom was telling me some of the gifts that she thought I had, right?
I love that. And then ultimately, what you bring is an outside the box solution. So it's going to be very hard to put you in a box and have you follow a path like we're seeing right now, right? You're going to kind of do it your own way. You're going to take it whatever way you want to take it, and you're going to go whatever direction you want to go. Ultimately, though, to have an impact in other people's lives, to be that pebble that starts the ripple effect that goes on in other people's lives.
Well, and what I love about this is I'm thinking about my team, right? Like they've got to actually take this because once I know their why, that's when
Yes.
I can help them as a leader to get better. And what have you found? What actually changes someone's life when they discover their why?
Yeah. So one of the things that we talk a lot about is who first, then what? Who are
Yep.
you first? Then what direction do you want to go? What's your passion? What's your message? What are you going to say that connects with the right people? What kind of leader do you want to be? All of those things come from who are you first. And so that's why it's so critical to know your why, your how, and your what. Now, there's a lot of great tools out there, and I know you're familiar with many of them: Myers-Briggs, Colby, StrengthsFinders, DISC, Enneagram. I mean, there's so many that we could talk about, and they're great tools, and we like them and use them. Those are how you take action. What we're focused on here is
Right.
why you take
Well,
action. Why
and
does
the
Diana
reason
do what she does?
and the reason I love this and because doing the 14 mindset assessments, I can take that 14 mindset assessment and bring this right alongside with it and see what they're great at, what their why is, what their how, and look at the mindset and actually help them uncover a more liberating mindset to improve those areas. So now we're really getting them up to their potential. I mean, I'm looking at this. It's magnificent, by the way,
Thank
and
you.
I can see why I was able to turn a company around because of the innovation, because I went
Yep.
in and changed a lot of things, right? And then the thing that hit me though is you've been a dentist for 30 years.
Yep.
I mean, what shifted in you to go from being a dentist into doing an assessment and helping so many businesses now?
I didn't start out, Diana, this is not something I set out to do. In fact, like you mentioned, I was a dentist, and back in when I graduated from USC Dental School, the advice that I was given by the gurus of that time was build a great product, and people will come. Right? Go out and do the best job you can, and people will naturally, mysteriously find out about you, and they'll come see you. So I spent, and a lot of your listeners have probably heard that same thing. Just go do a great job, and the rest will take care of itself. So I spent 20 years reaching the highest levels you could get to in dentistry, studying with the best mentors, building the beautiful practice, buying all the technology. And I still blended in with everybody else who said, yeah, I'm a dentist too, right? Just like, yeah, I'm a realtor, or yeah, I'm a whatever it is that you do. You blend in with everyone else who does what you do. And it just drove me crazy. My practice wasn't growing like I thought it would or should for the amount of effort that I put into it. And that's when I went out and hired a coach, a guy by the name of John Assaraf. You probably know him.
Wait, just a minute. No, now this is taking me back a long time. He has been a coach for me many, many years ago, a great friend, by the way. And we did vision boards
Yes.
together and we did all sorts of fun things, writing letters. Uh, that is fun. I love
That's
the connection. And I do want to bring up how John Maxwell says, you know, all these people get so involved in marketing, Gary. And it's, you know, you can do all the marketing in the world. And if you're not good, you're just telling a bunch more people you're not good, for heaven's sakes. Whereas with something like this, you're helping to understand your strengths. And awareness is the first step to change. And you're helping people become aware. And literally, what you did for me is to say, yep, you are correct in thinking that's who you are, because we were talking about who I was, right?
Yep.
And now it's a confirmation, which gives us more confidence and more energy to go do what we desire to do. So what's the biggest misconception that people have about finding their purpose or their why, their what, and their how?
that it's not possible. There that it's yeah, that I've got to go sit in that dark cave or walk by myself through Portugal for a month, or I've got to hire all these therapists to help me find it.
Oh, yeah.
And that it's that they don't have one, that everybody else does, but I don't. That everybody else has something special, but I don't. That I
Oh,
have to
wow.
change myself to be like someone else. I have to find someone else that found success, and I got to be like them. And so, what we focus on is what the world doesn't need is a muted version of you. What the world needs is you being the best version of yourself. And in order to do that, you need to know who you are. And so just find out who you are. And the WHY.os Discovery is a great way to do it. There are other ways, but this will do it for you so quickly. And then just be the best version of yourself. Bring you, which is already good enough, everywhere you go.
You know,
Does that make sense?
yes, we're told that we're unique, that nobody else is like us. That even though, I mean, our DNA, you know, siblings have some of the same DNA, and our environment, is it nature, is it nurture? And that's a big discussion and all of that, and epigenetics. And I've been doing a lot of study and research in that area. And yet it boils down to we're all unique. And this is what you're helping us with, is what is that uniqueness? What sets you apart? And
Yep.
what do you think is different? I've got my version. I'd love to hear yours. What is the difference between your why and your passion or personality?
That's a great question. I want to show you something. I didn't get to finish showing you that. And let's go back here. Um, so when you can see here your full YOS, right? Are you able to see that on your screen?
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
So your top three here are your why, how, and what. Contribute, simplify, challenge. So if you look over here, right? Contribute, simplify, challenge.
Yes,
And so when you're helping other people, simplifying it, and bringing an outside the box solution or perspective, it doesn't get any better than that for you. You would do it all day long for free if you could, and you probably have, right? So if we put you, or you pick a path where you get to help other people simplify things and bring outside the box solutions. Would you enjoy doing that?
Absolutely. In fact, I laughed because you said you'd do it for free today. I did a free Q&A. I do it every Tuesday, and every Thursday night I do a free call on becoming more. So yes, that's an absolute 100% true on.
So, if you choose a path or we guide you in a direction where you get to live your why, your how, and your what, you will love what you do. You will have passion for what you do. And passion is the fuel that gives you the energy to pursue your dreams. Without passion, you quit. Without passion, you give up. With passion, you persevere. And so that's why it's so important to know your why, how, and what. In fact, the younger you are, when you figure out who you are, the longer the runway you have to be who you were meant to be, to do what you were meant to do. And so that's why it's so critical that we help people figure out who they are so they can be who they are.
Well,
Now, let me just go a little bit further so I can share what's here, and then we can go back to it. But the middle three here are also important to you, Dianna, but maybe not quite as important. You want it to have some depth to it. You want there to be some structure to it, and you want it to make sense. And then the bottom three are the things that kind of zap your energy or maybe you're not really focused on. You don't worry about whether it's better because you know if it has an impact, it's simple and it's different, it's gonna be better. You don't worry about whether people trust you or not. You just assume they do unless otherwise shown. And you don't want me to hit you with 50 questions to see if you know what you're talking about. You already know you know what you're talking about. And so that's where it's so valuable to know this about somebody because you know what's not important to them, what they don't focus on, and what's very important to them, and how to help guide them in a way that's going to allow them to live the life they were really meant to live. Does that make sense?
It makes so much sense. And I can see now why this assessment is going to build a strong team, knowing everyone's top three and bottom three. And see, I believe that I live a life that you would trust me because I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. The integrity is a big thing for me, right? And therefore, and you're right, don't ask me 50 questions about something. I mean, come on. Bottom line up, for heaven's sakes. We got too much time. Maybe it's because of my age and I know I don't have a whole long time left. I want to do something before my time's up. The other thing I love about this is we're here to multiply our talents. We're taught that whether you're religious or not, it doesn't matter. When you have a talent, you either use it or lose it.
Yeah.
And so we've got to multiply that. What better way to multiply your talent than to know it first? If you don't know what your talent is, how in the heck do you multiply it, right? So I can see how it builds stronger team from my perspective. Gary, what's your perspective on how it builds a stronger team?
Oh, perfect. Great question. So here's what you would do as a leader. You would discover the why, how, and what of all of your team members so you know who they are. And then you create a matrix. So imagine a matrix where you have their name, then what they do, then what's their why, how, and what. And then you will very quickly know whether, in fact, I'll show you an example of one right now so you can see it.
Okay, let's get this going here. Let's see
Let
it.
me just bring it up and then you can see it. Here we go.
This is so fun to see all this stuff.
Yeah,
And when I
exactly.
look down, I'm looking at the screen, folks. It's not on my desk. It's actually on the screen, right? So we're looking at this. This
Okay,
is why I
so
want you to be on YouTube so you can see it. WHY.os Matrix.
so what you're looking at, if you're listening, on the left we have their name. Then next to them we have the position they are in the organization. Let's say it's CEO, COO, accountant, sales, marketing. And then next to that we have their why, their how, and their what. So you can very quickly see where are we strong as a team, where are we maybe not quite as strong as a team. As we grow and we add new people to our team, what are we going to be looking for? Why would we be looking for them? And then do we have the right people in the right place doing the right things? And so in that example that's on the screen right there, Dianna, there's one person that's in the wrong spot. And it's the why, it's the accountant, right?
Right.
Because he has the why of challenge, which means he's not going to follow the rules. He's not going to do it the way it's supposed to be.
When I saw that, it was like, oh my goodness, that's a red flag. Who wants an
Yes.
accountant challenging things, right? Yes.
And not following the rules. So, so if you want creative accounting, that's a great place to put them. But if you don't want creative accounting, not the best spot.
This accountant would be the one that you want if you say, what's 2 + 2? And they say, whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, exactly. But building a team is a very challenging thing unless you know who you have on your team. And so, in fact, let me go a little bit further with that because I want to just kind of tell you a story there. We hadn't planned on doing this. I just happened to have this up, but there now when I go to events around the world, somebody will walk up to me, hey Gary, can you help so and so discover their WHY.os? So I'm at a golf tournament, and a friend comes up and said, hey Gary, can you help Coach Brian Green discover his WHY.os? He's the new baseball coach for New Mexico State University, worst program in the nation. And so we sit down and I take him through discovering his why, how, and what. So his why is to create relationships based upon trust. How he does that is by doing things the right way in order to get predictable results. And ultimately, what he brings is a way to contribute, add value, have an impact on other people's lives. And so I said, now, Brian, how does that feel to you? And he goes, man, that is me to a T. That is spot on. That's what I preach. That's what I talk about. He said, I need you to help me with my team. So I went to Las Cruces, New Mexico. We did the why, how, and what for the coaches, assistant coaches, and all the players. Then at lunch, I said, Brian, I want you to circle all your favorite players. So he starts circling all of his favorite players, and they all ended up having the why of trust and right way. And I said, if you could use the WHY.os Discovery to build your team, would that be valuable for you? And he said, oh my gosh, I would love to do that. So he recruited and built his team based on their why, how, and what. And he ended up having the biggest turnaround in the history of the NCAA. He had a 4-year run after that of 34 plus wins in a row. He had 9 All-Americans and 12 players taken in the Major League Draft, where they'd never had one in the history of the program. Then he gets hired away to Washington State University on their own 10-year slump, and he does the same thing there. And I ran into him recently, and I said, Brian, how are things going for you? And he said, well, I just hit the pinnacle of college golf. He said, I'm the new head coach at Wichita State University, one of the premier programs in the nation. And I said, well, what do you attribute your success to? And he says, I build everything based on their why, their how, and their what. And he said, what I told you wasn't accurate, though. I don't just want trust and right way. I have to have everybody. But now I know who I have, and I know where to put them, where they're going to have the biggest impact, so we have the biggest impact. And
So
that's
you're
how you
putting them
get the
in the
right
right
people on the
spot.
bus and in the right seat.
Well, the other part that came to mind was Sean Nepstead, a very good friend of mine up in San Francisco. He was able to interview a coach, Nick Saban, right? Pretty good coach to interview. And he said, what was the biggest difference between your winning seasons and maybe the seasons you didn't do so well, even though you won a lot of games? And he said, oh, that's simple. He said, the team got along. And we all knew each other very well, and we desired to help each other. And so just hearing that, and then hearing what you were helping this coach Brian with, it made so much sense that you've got to know the why to build a stronger team. And of course, before I took the assessment, I was sitting there thinking, can you have more than one why? I was curious. And if someone is stuck right now that's listening to this, what would you say to them? I know what I would say, get on and find out your why. What
Yes.
would you say to them?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, what most of us do is we made a choice. We made a decision when we didn't know who we were, back when we were 17, 18, 19, in our early 20s. We chose a path when we didn't know who we were. We got good at it. Then we built a life around it. And now we feel stuck by the life we built based on that choice. And so we do that because we didn't know who we were. Once you figure out who you are, the choices, getting unstuck, finding your passion, finding your purpose, finding your direction, making decisions, what to say yes to, what to say no to, those become so much easier when you know who you are. Who first, then what? If the only thing you do from listening to this is figure out who you are, you're going to be blown away by how much easier it makes choices moving forward. Now, will that necessarily make your life easier? No, it doesn't necessarily make your life easier, but it makes it way more fulfilling. So back to the dentist thing. I was a dentist, right? I was trying to figure out how to stand out in the crowded marketplace, and I learned how to use the internet through John Assaraf. But what was I going to say to stand out from everyone else who does what I do? And since I didn't know, I just stayed quiet until one day I heard him interview Simon Sinek, and I heard about this whole concept of why. And I was like, man, I watched that TED Talk 20, 30 times. I read his book multiple times, and I said, that is what I'm missing. I have a great what, but I don't know my why. So I became obsessed with the whole why thing. I called Simon. I said, hey, I need you to help me discover my why. So he and I spent about 8 months together trying to figure it out. He didn't really have a way to do it. We just kept trying to figure it out. And I finally figured out my why, which is to find a better way and share it. Find a better way and share it. And that's when my life started to make sense to me. I have a lot of patents and products and inventions, better ways of doing things. And so then in my practice, we stopped talking about what we do, crowns, bridges, fillings, all that fun stuff. And we started focusing on why we do what we do. What do we believe? That's when my practice really took off. And as it took off, that's when I started getting calls from other dentists wanting me to help them do the same thing. So I went back and figured out a better way to help people find their why than what Simon came up with. And then I could help you in about an hour. And I did it for thousands of people for free. And then I started to notice the patterns, trends, and similarities. And but the reason I'm telling you this is because once I figured out my own why, it would have been easier for me to just stay a dentist. My practice was doing great. I was working 3 days a week, making a lot of money, but it wasn't fulfilling. So once I figured out who I was, I realized I'm not on the right path, and I walked away. And so has being in the bringing software and bringing the why to the world been easier than just staying a dentist? No, but it's been so much more fulfilling. It's getting that way now, but it's taken a while. So the end will be way more fulfilling than if I'd have stayed a dentist. But in the short term, sometimes it can lead to more challenging directions that you might pick. Does that make sense?
Yes, your passion, though, carries you through those challenging times. And I look back now, I'm very excited to share this with my husband, Tony, and because he's always saying, Dianna, if you look back from the time you started selling real estate, you have been innovating, doing new things. First one to have a secretary back then. They now call them assistants. I was the first one to have an agent help me. We called him a buyer agent. They helped me name him. He was the first one. It was the first, actually, I got fired from a firm because I wanted a second one. I started building this team, which people didn't like in real estate at the time. And so Tony goes, we were just always following the things that you came up with customer appreciations and then going to Keller Williams Realty International. And now I look back and I go, I was always changing things, always coming up with things. And to know that as a leader of someone that is working with you, I mean, the runway could have been even so much bigger coming up with things. And of course, the biggest thing, not caring who got the credit. You just threw it out there and whoever got the credit was fine. It was just, let's innovate and make us better and different than everybody else. That's what you're going to help people with. And Dr. Sanchez, Gary, I feel like you're my friend now, and we're
I am.
talking about how we can get this out to everybody. And I want to partner with you and get it going. So people that know me, they can call me. People that know you can call you. We can go to your assessment website, which you're going to share with us. And we're putting everything here down below so you can watch it on YouTube, or just tell us for those that are listening. They can go to
Whyinstitute.com, WHY Institute.com, and you can take the WHY.os Discovery there. So, what I want to do, Dianna,
it's the
for
WHY.os
your
Discovery. We kind of went out there with the internet
oh,
challenges that we're having. Yeah.
so yeah, WHY.os Discovery. That's the one that finds your why, your how,
Yeah.
and your what, and builds your message for you. Now, for your audience, Dianna, we have the why discovery that just finds your why and gets you going. So I'm happy to give that to your audience for free. If we can put a link down in the bottom where they can take that for free. And if you want to then continue and find your how and your what and your message for you, you'll be able to do that as well. And that part isn't free, just so that you know, and I'm totally transparent. It's only though $97. So we're not talking a lot of
Oh,
money.
wait, just a minute. For $97.
Yes.
What a gift to give to the people. And I know I'm going to have the entire team take this, and I'm here for you. If you're on the free Tuesday calls, you'll be hearing about this. If you're on the free Becoming More calls on Thursday, you're going to be hearing about this. In fact, watch this over and over again. More importantly, get your assessment. Find out your big why, your how, your what, and let us help you. We'll be there for you to coach you through, or find a person that can, right? So, Gary, tell us, what is the biggest thing? What's your goal? You want to help 1 million people, right?
Well, my vision, here's my vision. My vision is to be the first step in self-awareness. When people are trying to figure out who am I, or they're trying to help someone else figure out who they are, the first step is finding your why, how, and what. That's your WHY.os. And then use any of the other tools you want to after that to dive deeper into your personality and things like that. But focus first on your WHY.os. Now, my goal is to impact 1 billion people in the next 15 years. We're on track for that now,
I
but we
love
need
that
the
better,
yeah.
because mine is 1 billion too. We're together on this. See, I believe if they take the why assessment and then find out their mindset, so now they know what their why is, their what, and their how, and how they think, and we can retrain the brain to think, to follow that why, what, and how. 1 billion people, I do believe that is so doable. And that's what the goal is. If you're listening to this, go and you can do the free one. Yet why? Why would you only do half of the job, right? I mean, come on. It's $97 to know who you are and to put you on a path like Dr. Sanchez, going from being a dentist that just talked about crowns and the things that he did for people, to actually help them in a way that touched their soul, that helped them understand he was there to care about them and to make things better. So what are the parting words that you have for us today?
Yeah, I would say if you only remember 4 words out of this whole thing, it would be who first, then what. Really focus on that. Who first, then what? Who are you first? Then what do you want to do? What direction do you want to go? What's my passion? What's my purpose? Because when you start with clarity of who you are, the rest becomes so much more fun, so much more interesting, and so much
So,
more fulfilling.
well, and looking back saying, yes, I understand the why behind the things I did, now going forward, so much more confidence, so much more, it will be more intentional in those areas and know that it's okay. I mean, like when they say, what would the bumper sticker say on your car? Don't tell me the rules, tell me the fine, right?
I love that.
I
That's
borrowed that
perfect.
from my mentor, by the way. I'll always give credit where credit's due. And thank you so much. You have helped me and allowing me to be transparent. You've actually helped every listener here. And I trust that you have sparked something inside of them to light a fire within to find out more about themselves, because self-awareness will do more for your life than anything else. And awareness, well, that's the first step to change. If you want something to change in your life, you're going to need to take the assessment now, because that will be your first step to knowing the change can happen and what to do to make it happen. Thank you so much, my friend. Let's stay on. We'll talk. And for all the rest of you, if you've liked this, subscribe below. Hit that subscription button, because we desire for you to become more each and every day of your life. Thanks.